We are here with head coach Alan Knipe after a 1-1 weekend with UC Irvine. We will hear an opening statement from coach and then open it up for questions.
Yeah, I thought it was a great week for volleyball. I know result-wise we don't like to drop a match, but I thought the environment at both places. Well, obviously the campuses are not far apart, so 2 sellouts is great for our sport. After a couple of sellouts earlier this year and a whole bunch the last couple of years, it's really impressed with what's going on. With the support of our program and what it does for volleyball in general. And all these matches are getting out there on ESPN Plus, so that's great. We're reaching a ton of people, and I think it's a great message for athletic directors around the world right now, and or maybe not around the world, but around the country of what men's volleyball can do on a campus and how important it is. And butts in the seats are butts in the seats, and they're it's good. So I'm really impressed with what Irvine did and what some other schools are doing around the country, and of course what we're doing with that. And it all comes down to the what the players are doing on the court. They're going to come watch good volleyball. So huge shout out to the LB Nation for supporting the team and in huge numbers, and there was a big representation of Long Beach fans down in Irvine also, so greatly appreciated. As far as the volleyball goes, I don't know how many people would draw it up that 2 sellouts and the visiting team wins a 3-0 sweep. That's not necessarily usually the way it goes down, but it's probably the right result. We didn't play great on Friday night. There was a lot of things we needed to be better at, and Irvine did play very well, and I thought we played very well on Saturday night. We were able to clean some things up. So it's probably the right result for the week, even though we would have liked to get both. And we learned a lot from Friday to Saturday, and you don't get a lot of time in the gym to work on things when you play back-to-back. So you have to rely a lot on your training and what adjustments you can make that you've already worked on that maybe you didn't use in that game or you need to reinforce, and maybe some different pieces. And then also just your internal competitiveness as a player to respond and as a coaching staff to make sure that you've prepped your team the best you possibly can and that you're giving them the best information real time that you can. And you like to believe that you can get all that from a win, and I do think you can. But sometimes what you can take from a loss, the lesson learned, is that there's always something you can do better, and that comes from the top down. That was me, that was my staff, and that was our players, and I thought that showed on Saturday night.
You were able to use a different lineup on Saturday and got the win. How valuable were those matches in non-conference leading up to it, where you were able to, use your depth and gain valuable experience leading into this weekend?
Yeah, it was huge, and we've been saying that all year that, we had some guys that were doing some good things. As far as, a lot of people are talking about Alex Gondov, and because he played really, really well on Saturday night. And at times he's done that in our gym, and he's done it in some matches. Unfortunately for him, he hasn't had the best of luck with staying healthy when he had some opportunities earlier in the year, and so we were happy that he was feeling good, and he's got himself in some great shape and been able to get past some stuff. And when we needed him, he was great. So same with Ben Braun, kind of almost the same situation actually with Ben. Ben's been in and out with some different things and was ready to go and play great. So it's just one of those kinds of years. It tends to happen sometimes when you deal with a little bit more with whatever's going on with guys. And we've the last couple of weeks we've been forced to use different guys for different reasons, and the guys have kept up a very high level of training and attention to detail, and we've gotten better through it. And whatever it plays out to be with who's available to play for us, hopefully that when we get everybody back and we got everyone going, then we're even that much deeper and we're that much more experienced. And really, for a coach, you have that much more confidence in guys that they've done things in bigger moments. So here we go. A lot of good guys doing good things and guys that maybe people didn't expect. And that's what NCAA sports is all about, and it makes it super special.
Can you talk a little bit more about Alex and how he's kind of come into this program and the type of player he's been for you?
Yeah, he got in. Obviously, he's a freshman. He's getting used to the whole, not only just our program, but living in California, and it's obviously different than Sofia, Bulgaria for him. He's adapted really well, but he's also, as a freshman, he was challenged with just a lot of things that for whatever reason he had, whether it be illnesses, different weird things, nothing too dramatic, but just a lot of them stacked up that kept taking him out of the lineup. So I'm really impressed with his mental toughness of just being able to deal with it and not getting overly frustrated, even though he was, getting disappointed. He wasn't getting his shot. He understand why. But the toughness to be able to deal with it while living in, half a world away and making the adjustments. So I'm super proud of him. And, we're a better team with him and Seba getting after it every day in practice, and they've both been such a big part of the last couple of weeks of our success. So it's good for our team. It's really good. It's good for this team. It's good for down the stretch, and it's good for the future.
Serving was a big talk on Friday night going into Saturday. Service errors were a big reason why. But can you assess your team's adjustment on Saturday and how they can use that moving forward?
Yeah, obviously you have 100% control of your serving. So if you miss 22 serves in 3 sets, it's almost an entire set. But there's that fine line. You want to be aggressive. And we've won a lot of matches this year being really aggressive with our serving. But we've never really reached that service error number that we had and service error percentage that we had on Friday night. And it just seemed to kind of it kind of steamrolled into more of it. Usually you can get yourself going, and we just really never could. And there's some adjustments that I probably should have made on that, but it's also the first time you run into some adversity with it, you don't want to tell the guys, let's completely switch up what's been going really well for 20 matches for them. But at the same time, there were some things we probably could have done a little bit better. But 22 serving errors. I think we hit 12 balls out of bounds, not the ones they blocked, balls, unforced errors, and got aced 8 times. It's a lot of points against any team, never mind one of the best teams in the country. So obviously we had to clean that up, which we did, and obviously the determination and the fight and resolve to get out there and respond the way the guys wanted to internally. It wasn't about anything other than internal pride and program pride. Yes, you want to do it for your fans, and yes, you want to do it for your university. But in reality, those guys wanted to do it for themselves and their team, that they didn't like kind of how Friday went. And that's why you play the season. You play the season to go through some challenges and some adversity and grow and get better as a team and become the best team you possibly can by the end of the season.
Would you say there's renewed confidence or just that confidence to move forward going into a weekend where you're going to face a UC Santa Barbara team that just beat a good CSUN team this past weekend?
Well, it should, right? I mean, you're in the best conference in college volleyball, in my opinion, and I don't think it takes much to show that, to the guys. They see that all the time. But I think what you want to take from the moment on Friday is just without taking anything away from your opponent, what was your approach like? What could you have done different? And what can you avoid getting pulled into that trap regardless of opponent? It doesn't matter who we play, because every team we're going to play the rest of the season is going to be a very, very formidable team with some really good players and a good coaching staff. So, you learn those lessons. And I think that whether it's renewed confidence or whatever, I don't really think that's necessarily. I think there's a ton of confidence in our guys. I think what it is that it's a one and done kind of situation at the end of the season, meaning our conference tournament, and if you were to advance to the postseason into the NCAA. And that's totally different than it is in a lot of, professional sports or later on what we see in the world of volleyball or the NBA or Major League Baseball. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a little bit more like NFL, right? One and done. And you need to learn how you prepare for that, because a lot of times in those moments, in big moments, in the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament, there's going to be adversity. Good teams are going to take things away from you that are comfortable for you, that have been going your way most of the season. And you have to have that internal ability to battle through that, one, make an adjustment, and the mentality of how to handle that when it's going on, that good teams make good plays, good players make good plays, even the ones on the other side of the net. And how do you continue to battle through? And then when it comes to each team down the stretch, that you get more and more videotape on each team. You've played them now 2, maybe 3 times, and if it's in some years, it could be the 4th time you play them if you have advanced all the way to the NCAAs. So you get to know each other a little bit better. So it gets a little more difficult. The margins get thinner as the season goes on. These are the lessons that we want to take. And we don't talk about any of these random things that people talk about, right? Winning streaks, or guys brought up a lot of like, hey, now undefeated or not, like that was never part of our plan anyway. None of that stuff matters to us. The only thing that matters to us is that we continue on an upward trajectory of getting better. And the 2025 version of this team, what we want that to be is reach its full potential, whatever that is. Not the 24, not the 26, the 25 version of us, the late in the year, being at our best. That's the only thing that matters in this program.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you.